All right, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. I'm starting out a really exciting journey. I'm doing 30 days of Death Shadow. So every day from now until 30 days from now, I'll be playing a variant of Death Shadow. And a lot of what this project is about trying to hone in on certain skills, and it's definitely about self improvement. So I am by no means any kind of a shadow expert. I'm by no means going to be making perfect plays. In fact, I'll probably be messing up a whole lot. So that's why I'm uploading these videos, though, to kind of hold myself accountable and to continue working on this project. And in the spirit of self improvement, I've got a extremely special guest with me here today. I have Mr. Mike Killily, also known as the Control Freak on Twitch. He is a excellent shadow pilot, and he's here to help me out. Mike, how are we doing tonight?
Oh man, doing fantastic so far. Appreciate you having me on as a guest tonight. Like obviously, I don't consider myself an expert in the archetype either, but I'm hoping between the two of us we can come up with some pretty good lines, come up with some tips and tricks, and
Yeah, man.
hold each other accountable here.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Well, if I recall correctly, the last time we collaborated on a video, we went 5-0. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, so, but we'll see what happens.
It's a pretty good
Um,
track record
it
so
is. You
far.
know what? We should just quit now because with the perfect record. We are taking a list from Mr. Ari Zaks. Today is February 15th. It is a momentous day in the history of Modern because this morning, Wizards of the Coast banned several cards from the format. It's a new format. It's very exciting. Myself and all of my Magic playing friends have been playing Magic literally all day with all the old decks that we used to play a lot. And so I'm so thrilled to use this day as a starting point, as a springboard for launching ourselves into this new format and playing this pretty sweet list here. This went 3-1 in today's Modern prelim, and as you can see, it's like a fairly stock Grixis Death Shadow list. We have our core threats in Gurmag Angler and Death Shadow. We have an additional threat in Scourge of Skyclaves. Of course, we have Team Battle Rage being the only red deck in the main because otherwise it's a base blue-black deck playing Dismembers and Street Race. We have two ops. Sometimes this is a flex slot. You'll see things like Drown in the Lock here. Maybe you'll see like an additional threat or maybe another Snapcaster, stuff like that. And of course, we have our 4 Stubs. We have our 4 Fatal Push, 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Inquisition, 4 Thought Scour, 4 Mishra's Bauble. And we have our pretty classic setup of our mana base here, where we are going to be playing, I believe, 10 fetch lands? No, 12 fetch lands, excuse me. If I'm counting right. No, 11. God, we're finally going to get it right. 11 fetch lands. And that means that we only have our 2 red sources to fetch out, which is our Steam Vents and Blood Crypt. And then we're playing 2 Watery Graves and our 2 basics. Looking at our sideboard, we have a little bit of Tron hate and Ceremonious Rejection. We should kind of expect to see some Tron and Eldrazi Tron kind of come back into the format. Ether Gust for any kind of red deck. Maybe we've got Gruul mid-range or Red Prowess, stuff like that. Nile Spellbomb, we expect to see some number of Dredge come return to the format. When there's less Uro in the format, when there's no Uro, excuse me, Uro's gone, so good. With no Uro in the format, there's less Grave Hate, meaning Dredge may have an opportunity to come back. K-Return is a really important card because it is a colorless card, so it gets around pro-red creatures, which can really give us a hard time. Collective Brutality is a little bit of a hedge against burn strategies, maybe prowess strategies, even though it's not the best. Plague Engineer is going to be really important. There's going to be a lot of elves and humans in this new format. Kolaghan's Commands, very flexible spell, is good against the Hammer Time deck as a Shatter and as a Shock. It's also a good grindy card in its ability to raise dead. And we finally have Drown in the Lock, another really awesome, flexible card, good against control decks, but also good against Fair Mirrors. That's basically the list. Mike, what do you think about this list? Do you have any commentary or feedback on it?
So I think starting off like the main deck, extremely clean. Something you see in a lot of shadow decks is a lot of 4 ofs, and if it's not a 4 of, it's a 2 of. You're wanting to see just about every card in every matchup you go up against. So really like all the 4s and 2s in Ari's particular main deck here. The sideboard, I'll be interested to see how things like Ceremonious Rejection play out. I've had slight gripes about the card in the past because if you're not seeing Tron or Eldrazi Tron specifically, the card often never comes in. So with the new meta, things getting shaken up, exciting time. I'm hoping that card will see a little more play. Aether Gust, another one that is a lot more flexible than I initially gave it credit for. So I think cards like that are going to have a good impact in this first couple weeks while things are shaking up. People are going back to their comfort zone, as well as trying to be a little more proactive. So I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty excited as well. So yeah, let's jump right into it. And as a reminder, if you're watching the video and you're enjoying it, or if you're noticing some huge mistake that we're making, please don't hesitate to write a comment in chat. I am more than open to feedback and to pointing out where I missed lines. I mean, like I said, this is really, really about my improvement, my trying to build on skills that I have and build new ones. So yeah, we're gonna hop into a league. I think hopefully we're going to see. Well, I don't know what we're going to see. That's what's been so exciting about today. I just truly been. It feels completely wide open. I played a league of Green Black Rock, and then I played a league of Jund, and I didn't see a single repeat deck among the 10 decks, which is so refreshing after coming out of a format where it felt like we were playing against almost all Uro piles, and then almost all some kind of like Rakdos Shadow, or then almost all like the Valky Cascade decks. And the metagame in Modern in general has faced a kind of a time of a real homogenization in terms of power level. Like a lot of just like couple of cards really dominating the format. But it really feels like with the action which WotC took today that we are kind of wide open on the format.
Right.
All right, we open up on an interesting hand. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1-drops with our 1 land. Scalding Tarn.
Virtual 6 1-drops, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Gurmag
Angler will be a 1-drop eventually, right? If he tries hard enough. With the Thoughtseize and the Scalding Tarn, we are dealing 5 damage to ourselves, which is not enough for the Shadows. We have Opt to dig a little more. We also have things to do. That's not that bad if we miss our land. And if we hit our lands, I'm feeling this hand is pretty reasonable. But, Mike, what do you think about this opening hand?
So I like this opening hand. First of all, we're on the draw, so we're increasing our chances of seeing that second land right away.
Sure.
We've got proactive pieces that we can cast if we do or we don't see that land with our hand disruption. And we've got this opt, so we've got the ability to see 4 or 5 cards deep in the first couple of turns to get that second land.
Right.
So I think all in all, it's a pretty solid keep to me.
Yeah.
Like we've got our threats, we've got something we want to be doing.
Easy game, drew the next land. Okay, cool. So we're up against Spirits because we see a Moorland Haunt, which is basically only played in Spirits. My plan here, I believe, Fetch Shock is 6, and then 8 is the Thoughtseize, which means we can play our Death Shadows. I don't know if I want to double Death Shadow next turn. The reason I say that is because I could Fetch Shock Inquisition, but then I wouldn't be able to double Death Shadow. If I Fetch Shock Thoughtseize this turn, I could double Death Shadow next turn. But I don't know if that's where I want to be. I don't know. What do you think, Mike? Is that worth it to try to go for the double Death Shadow next turn? Does put a lot of pressure.
I think I would.
Okay.
This Thoughtseize is going to give us some amount of information, so maybe we decide like we want to start off turn 2 with the Inquisition.
Yep.
But I think if our opponent kept a lower power level hand, being able to just power out the threats and really get the clock going can have a big impact.
Agreed. Ooh, the path is looking nice because that might be something we're interested in. However, we could just take Rattle Chains. If we take Rattle Chains, then they're really incentivized to just play out a Supreme Phantom. And then maybe something we draw will influence our decision. I think I'm tempted to take Rattle Chains here because I don't want to have them go land go and then they get to hold up. Well, I guess if we take Path, then they will just be committed to Rattle Chains. This is a tough one, and I'm not sure what to do.
I think I would look at taking the Path here.
Just take Path?
Because we know this Inquisition is going to be able to tag one of these creatures in the next couple of turns.
That's true.
So being able to get down the double Shadow next turn,
right,
and not have to worry about them removing one from the field, is just going to allow us to like opt for a third land and really
yeah.
get some serious hits in.
Right, that makes sense. Whew, a third Death Shadow. Oof. Sometimes you can have too much of a good thing.
Blasphemy.
All right. Blasphemy. I think I'm taking Blood Crypt because if we hit Temur Battle Rage, it's pretty nuts. And that's something I think we might be interested in. I don't think we don't
your
want
blue
stun.
cards aren't particularly good here.
Right.
So having access to double blue for like Snapcaster Stub isn't that relevant.
Right.
But being able to get the second black source to play out your second shadow is top priority, and then making sure any third land is able to really get the ball rolling is fine.
Right. All right, we see that Rattle Chains. All right, and then we're gonna go second shadow, and we're gonna pass. And
I don't know if I like my opponent casting Rattle Chains there before the shadow even comes down, because they run into the risk of, if we just have like Dismember, then they just open themselves up to something. But if they wait for us to use our second mana, then there's a much better chance of us getting kind of run away.
Interesting attack from the opponent. Feels a little ambitious. So they're at 17, which means our shadows would have to be 8/8s to be presenting lethal. Potentially we can opt into something that would do that. So I think it's worth just to kick off an opt here on our first main.
Right. So if you get something like Dismember, then that can really change things up.
I don't think we're interested in second opt. Second land though. Or third land rather. We're definitely gonna play it. Okay, so I attack, and they maybe say no blocks. And then...
So we get to see here if they respect Battle Rage.
Right, which they're not. Okay, so if I Fetch Shock here, I'm dealing 14, putting them down to 3. And then I will have 3 lethal attackers. However, I will be at 6. And if they play another Lord, then they'll have 6 exactly coming back at me. So...
I think the big life total situation here is if you fetch below this 9 life that you're at, and they company into like double Lord, what's the life total looking like there? It's giving +4/+4 to what they have on board, or +2/+2 to both, +4/+4 total.
5, 9.
So that
would be lethal. Right, because it would be.
I think it would be.
5,
I think it would
8,
be 5 and 8.
Oh,
yeah.
So maybe we just
double
shouldn't?
Lord doesn't kill you.
Right.
So I would look at just taking this 4, Inquisitioning to see, because you know they've got the second Supreme Phantom.
Oh boy, we got double Coco. All right. Yeah, that was a good call. We might. One thing to be concerned about is this Moorland Haunt, because it can produce a lot of chump blockers if they don't hit this land. Don't know what their attacks are looking like here. I guess it depends what they drew. Or maybe if they... Don't know if I'm in love with this attack.
So, I would definitely fire off this Thought Scour. Okay. Because fetching gets both your shadows lethal. Yeah.
Right.
So now if you draw into something like Fatal Push, you've got a lethal attack. Your opponent has to chump block anyway. Yeah.
So I'm going to go to attacks first. I'm going to declare these attacks because we're putting the ball in their court, essentially. Yes. We're saying, we're attacking.
They have to do something first.
Right.
To make them make the action, and then we can respond with like Dismember, because we know with 2 companies in hand they can't have something like Force of Negation.
Right. Yeah, we'll just show them the bad news right away, and they'll scoop. Okay, cool. All right, that was an interesting one. I don't know, man. There's a couple spots I really didn't know what to do there. The one thing I completely missed though was firing off the Thought Scar on Instep. That was like definitely right, and I should have. I wasn't even thinking about presenting both 2 lethal attackers. Okay, cool.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that that situation, it's less about getting the card off of Thought Scour, like casting the Thought Scour,
Yeah.
is it is getting both of those shadows up to lethal.
Right.
And it just so happens that you could get a basic fire off the Thought Scour, and that
Right.
just forces the double chump.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, cool. So, like I like to do, I like to make some piles because I'm not sure usually what I exactly want. The only thing that's a slam dunk, obviously, I think, is Plague Engineer. You just want that card, of course, self-explanatory. Drown in the Lock seems all right. You know, if they don't have a Cavern of Souls, being able to counter a spirit can be really good. I'm go back and forth with Stub. Okay, so like against humans, you just like don't want Stub, but like spirits actually can play some real cards. Like you might see some Teferis out of them, and you might see some like more removal spells. And then like K return doing only 2 damage can be really suspicious because of the Lord being a 1/3. But that being said, I don't know if I still want it though. I might still want it. I'm not sure. So maybe if I play a little faster here, what do you think about something like this?
So for me, for the reason you just said, I like K command over K return.
Okay.
Being able to hit Vile plus like a 2
sure.
power or 2 toughness creature
Yeah.
is extremely nice, but Supreme Phantom dodging K return
Yeah.
is an issue, and since a lot of their creatures like Drog Skull Captain or X2s, then as soon as they get a Lord effect out, they just dodge K return completely.
Sure.
Um, as far as board outs, like I usually trim down to 1 or 2 stub.
Okay.
I it's kind of a let them force you to respect something situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they go all in and board in for Rest in Peace and Worship and
Right.
everything under the sun, then you can always go to game 3 and bring more stubs back in.
Right.
But game 2, I wouldn't respect those things too much until you see what their plan is. But you
Mm-hmm.
still want some amount of a hedge.
Right. Makes sense. I wanted to cut some street race for life total. We're running out of time. Anything too egregious here that you see?
I don't think there's anything too egregious at all.
All right, cool, cool. Yeah, so you know, Street Wraith in general, like a little bit of a liability, especially in creature matchups, because obviously you're never casting the thing. And then also, you know, it's if you're on the draw as well, they're putting a lot of pressure on you. You don't want to be drawing those Street Wraiths, paying 2 life. This is just a mall. Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, this one's interesting. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we have like 3 things that go to the graveyard for Gurmag, but maybe we can just bottom the Gurmag? Because, like, I don't know. Because at least with, like, we have Bobble fetch land to figure something out.
So
I'm leaning
I
towards
think I would
yes.
bottom the Stubborn Denial
Okay.
because you're dodging, or they're dodging Stubborn Denial on the play with like an Aether Vial.
Sure.
Which means there's a decent chance that Stubbs just not going to have text this game.
Right. Right, makes sense. All right, so I'm just going to do the thing. I'm looking for Thoughtseize, Inquisition of Kozilek, or Removal Spell. So I'm going to go ahead and bobble myself to be looking... Ooh, Dismember? Is that the removal spell I want? So if I go fetch lands, pass, and I fetch shock Dismember, then that's 3, 7, I'll be at 13, and I can shock in and make a 2/2 Shadow. And I can make him a 4/4 with the Street Wraith. Am I doing my math right? 3, 7,
Yes.
9. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and keep it. I guess this sucks if they have Rattle Chains because they're just going to pass back to me, and then I don't have a target, and that would be a bummer. But
it's kind of risk versus reward.
Right.
Like if they have Rattle Chains, it's unfortunate. But if they have something like Supreme Phantom, then you just put yourself in a really good position on top of this meta.
All right. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna take a draw step, and we are gonna try to cheese them because I'm gonna shock in this Watery Grave here, and we're gonna pass. We're gonna hope that they attack in it, and we can Snapcaster block this. That's really fun. They're playing Ariat Champion. All right. They have a spell queller. We're kind of bones. I'm sorry. I really blew through that. I mean, anything you want to stop me here on?
No, I think you're fine. If they have Spell Queller, we can still like dismember it in a future turn,
Right.
so it's not the end of the world.
Right. Obviously, if they have interaction, we'd rather do path. Okay, it's spell color. That's okay because now, man, our X champion's sweet out of them because our plague engineer now has to name human and not spirit. That's pretty gross. This obviously makes us want Mr. Kozilek a little bit more, but you know what you gonna do. Also, really, our X champion extremely good against Scourge and Skyclaves here.
Is very good against Scourge.
So I'm gonna Street Wraith because I want an Inquisition. If I Inquisition, I can maybe see if the coast is clear to try to go for a dismember on this to kill the Ariok. What do you think?
Before you fire it off, I would
Yeah.
consider life total here
Okay.
because if you do something like dismember the Spell Queller,
Right.
pay 4, go to 10, Snapcaster comes in, target dismember again, you're going to 6.
Hmm.
So just if that's a line that you want to have access to,
Yeah.
then getting too aggressive with Street Wraith too soon can be detrimental.
Yeah. True. Good point.
If you hit something like a guy like an Inquisition, it's obviously fantastic here, but it's just something to keep in mind that like Street Wraithing without having a bobble or some sort of setup does put you in a little bit of an awkward life total spot.
Gotcha. That's fair. That's a good point. So I can fetch Shock, Death Shadow, and have a 2/2. That's a thing I can do. What does that do for me? Anything? And then I can make him a 4/4.
So I think I like the Street Wraith line and just
Okay.
play out one shadow.
Okay.
Part of the reason there is you're concealing Dismember.
Right.
So maybe there's a chance they don't play around it. You're concealing your ability to get back Snapcaster.
Right.
So if your opponent goes for something here, surprised with just attacking with Spell Queller.
I'm gonna.
Well, not with Warwick Champion.
Yeah. So I can save a life off this Dismember by fetching a. No, I can't fetch a basic swamp. Never mind. I would not be saving life. Oh no, yeah, I would because I can get the black off of this and the blue off of this. I think I want to do that because we're in a bad spot, and I think if they have something, we're going to try to force them to play on their own turn, which is like kind of important here. Anything you want to? I think I'm going for it.
It's a rough spot because like if they have Rattle Chains or another Spell Queller.
Yeah.
Things can get really dicey really quickly.
Yeah, they can. No kidding.
You don't really have a lot of turns to take hits and not force the action.
Right. Yeah, Rattle Chains would be pretty dang good. Another Spell Queller, sure. Okay, so we got to think about, is Battle Rage off the top lethal? That's like the next phase. And if we go to 7 here, we can fetch up to 3. We only have a... Oh, I'm sorry. Fetch shock to 4. And no, we're not. We're only dealing 18 trample damage. So we're in a little bit of a tight spot. Yeah, we're just going to do what we can here. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'd have to fetch 2, 3. So I'm not going to... I don't want to die on the spot to a Lord. So I'm just going to play this Death Shadow. Sorry, my thinking there was if I fetch, I go to 6. And if they have a Lord, I just die on the spot. Although it doesn't matter though because they can attack with Ariok Champion, which is
right.
Yeah, but you know maybe we just try to make them do it. I don't know.
Yeah, this is certainly a rough matchup.
Yeah, I mean this is definitely how they put the screws on us for sure. So the fact that they've attacked very quickly and without hesitation leads me to believe that they have a Temur Battle Rage covered here. Because in my experience, a lot of people at least kind of have this weird fear around that card. So we can't really trigger Revolt on these Spell Quellers without dying. Or hold on, yeah, we. Can. Oh no, yeah, we can because we can try to kill this snap and then yeah. Is there a better time to do this? I don't think so. Like,
so best case scenario would be doing it in combat if they declare attackers with the Oriok champions.
right,
Uh,
right,
I don't know why they would declare with the Oriok champions, but that would be prime situation. Is just being able
right.
to tag the 2 spell quellers and trade off a champion with a snapcaster.
Right. And so they got something. The third spell color. Yeah, it might be. That's what it was looking like there for a sec. Okay. Huh. All right. Well, I guess they're trying to get me to tap down on more mana by this. Yeah, I mean, it don't really matter, right? Like one or the other. Don't think it makes a difference. Like if they have a way to stop this.
I feel like it has to be another queller. Yeah.
Right. All right. GG's. All right. So being on the play is a huge deal. Obviously, as you can see, so much about this game is about tempo. They showed me that card, so Break goes a extra turn. I'm pretty sure here. Let's see. Scourge of the Skyclaves look pretty bad there.
Probably shave another stub here.
Shave another stub.
Like you didn't see Rest in Peace, you didn't see Path, you didn't see Company. It doesn't mean that they don't have those. It just means that there's a decent chance they're not playing as many of them as they could.
So I think this is just a snap keep. I don't really need to say much. I mean, we have double discard into the best card in the matchup. So,
right,
cool. A little unfortunate that we can't really. These aren't fetch lands. If these were fetch lands, this hand would be really, really good. But you know, and since oh, cool. All right, that's good. And yeah, so if these were fetch lands, I might think about leading on Thoughtseize, but I'm just going to Inquisition. We're just going to go for straightforwardly, quote unquote, right moves here. Okay, we got double. Okay, so
keep a 1-lander.
Keep
which means they're guaranteed to have like 2 and 3 off the top, right?
Right. I won't make it too big a deal of it, but my track record for opponents keeping 1-landers and then hitting the land on the top draw is like exceedingly high. But I think we might have to snag these paths, as bad as that feels.
I think so as well.
Yeah, because we just we need to protect our best cards. So, yeah, I think that's the plan here. Also, if in the somehow miraculous case they don't hit that second land, those are the cards they can cast right now. So that just kind of makes sense that you would want to take those.
Right. I think in Shadow, compared to a lot of traditional mid-range control decks, there's a lot of times where you can't afford to take the most powerful card in hand.
Right.
You have to take the tempo play.
Right. I want to play Polluted Delta. I don't know if they play Mana Tithe or something. Who knows these days? So, okay, they had a Skyclave Apparition. Well, gotcha. So, I still am taking this path. If they hit the second land, they get the Ariok Champion. Hopefully they deal with themselves a decent amount of damage. Plague Engineer on human. Maybe they Skyclave Apparition it. Yeah, what do you think? Probably that?
I think take the path as well.
Yeah.
If your opponent bricks on this land one more turn, then we can get the Shadow down, start getting some attacks in. Ooh. That one doesn't cast an Oriok Champion.
It doesn't cast the Skyclave either as of now. It casts the Rattle Chains.
It does cast the Rattle Chains.
So I'm going to go ahead and just fetch Shock Thought Scour here, I believe.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And
if your opponent plays out Rattle Chains, that's kind of fine for you.
Right. One thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, but I want you to finish your thought. You could consider Thought Scouring them because we play Drown Lock in this deck, but they're going to fetch, putting 3 cards in, so we don't need to worry about that. But just always be aware of that. That's a choice that you can make sometimes.
Right. Good point. Speak of the devil.
Sometimes you draw the card.
So Drown in the Lock being able to counter a Skyclave Apparition would be really huge here.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously it's going to be able to counter a Skyclave Apparition, but just that interaction is one that we are more than happy to have access to.
Yes, and we are really, really hoping that that's what plays out here.
I'm hoping our opponent just decides to hit us in the face with the rattle chains.
That would be really nice of them. Because, like, I want this guy a 4-4. Okay. So they've got unknown. Okay. Do I point a drown lock at that? If they have a second rattle chains, it's like a total disaster.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think you just hold the course for a second.
Right. Okay, so Bobble's not bad. I'm gonna bobble on my go ahead.
I would bobble them now.
Yeah.
Because if you see they don't have a land on top, then you might just want to play out Plague Engineer.
Name Spirit.
Yes.
Yep. Let me do this better. Again, let's keep playing around. Sorry, let's keep playing around Mana Tithe, and also we want to have blue and black up for the random card we're drawing.
It's like this stops the rattle chains, the second rattle chains.
Right.
You've got Drown and Lock to stop Skyclave Apparition.
Right. Yeah, that was sick. That was a really heads-up play because we're checking to see... Ooh, hello. We're checking to see if the coast is clear, basically. Because if we don't, if they're hitting the land, we need to hold up Drown and Lock for the Skyclave Apparition.
Between Shadow Engineer, Gurmag Angler, you're attacking through Auriok Champion very, very well.
I'm gonna leave Fatal Push on top.
I like it.
Yeah, and then we'll go to combat, and then we're gonna play a Gurmag Angler for a beautiful 1 mana. Let's keep
the best Gurmag Anglers,
dude. Absolutely, like that.
I like it.
Just thinking about future Snapcaster mages, like Thoughtseize is pretty decent here. And yeah, that's all that she wrote. Cool. Well, we got lucky. Definitely got super lucky that they didn't hit that third land for sure. But that bobble play was sick.
Lucky, or did they get greedy?
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot that they kept that 1-lander. That's what brought it on. Yeah. But they already mulliganed though, and like I've been in that spot. Like mulliganing against the Thoughtseize decks is so brutal. So
I agree. But
yeah,
it's the risk you take.
I guess so. True, risk you take for sure. All right, it feels good to beat Spirits because, yeah, that one can be tricky. Like, you have to really navigate that pretty closely. As you can see, very small things can really throw things off there or, like, make you lose the game. So,
agreed completely. Like, having a deck that's able to put a lot of pressure on you while dodging a good bit of your disruption, like dodging Stubborn Denial,
yes.
Having access to things like Rattle Chains and Drogskull Captain that help dodge removal spells,
right,
is huge.
Yep, definitely. All right, we win the die roll, which is amazing. This hand is phenomenal, and we're going to keep.
Can you hear me snap keeping?
Dude, absolutely. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I want to bobble them first because I want to know if I want to play a turn 2 Death Shadow. Again, remembering Fetch Shock. Oh, no, we can still do it anyway, though, right? Because we can Fetch Shock, Thoughtseize. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'm just thinking myself into circles with this deck, but I'm still going to bobble them to get a better informed decision. Oh, boy. Okay, so I'm glad Mike is here for this one.
I don't know what you're worried about. It's just a lava spike.
Oh, man. Okay, so... Oh, the mind games began already. So, okay. Ooh.
So, against Burn, this hand lends itself pretty well because if your opponent plays a turn 1 haste creature or lava spike, they could potentially get Shadow up to a 4/4 on turn 2.
Right.
And if you're able to attack with that 4/4 Shadow, get down Scourge, you're closing the game out extremely quickly.
Yes, that's true.
This is the kind of hand that instead of being a little passive like you'll see sometimes, I would go kind of all in.
Okay.
And just try to get them dead as soon as possible. because you've got a couple pieces of disruption.
Sure.
You've got a lot of really good live draws.
Right. Do I grab a Blood Crypt here so I can potentially grab a basic island off this if I need to?
I would just get Watery Grave.
Okay.
I know fetching and shocking taboo, but this is a situation where I don't think you can afford to be very passive.
Right. I think I take the Goblin Guide.
I agree.
Okay. And what's my reasoning here? My reasoning is that they're not drawing the second land. We know that. Otherwise, I might be tempted to take Eidolon. But I want to make them have to make an awkward decision. That awkward decision being, do I just shock Lava Spike, my Mishra's Bauble Inquisition opponent? And I think that's where I want to be.
So
they're probably going to suspend Rift Bolt, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they're going to suspend Rift Bolt, but that's fine. You don't want the recursive damage off the Goblin Guide here,
Right.
since you don't have a removal spell.
This could potentially be interesting because you can, if they point a bolt at your Death Shadow, you can cycle here. Yeah, okay, suspend Rift Bolt makes sense. They also have a Lava Spike in hand. I accidentally deleted it, so we'll have to remember that. Okay. So if I Thoughtseize to 15, I fetch shock down to 15 to 12, and then the Street Wraith still won't protect the Death Shadow, right?
Right. So I would just go Thoughtseize, because we know what they've got, and we kind of just want to take like this Eidolon.
Sure.
But let's add up burn damage real quick. So they got 3 on the suspended Rift Bolt.
6, 9, 12, 15.
And 15 total. We're going to 15 off of this Thoughtseize.
Right.
They can't fire their hand off too quickly unless they draw the burn spell. Or unless they draw the second land.
Second land, right.
We could take the
Helix. Or a one drop. Yeah, Lightning Bolt.
Efficient and goes at a creature.
Right.
Because maybe you want to do something like take the Helix, let them Rift Bolt the Death Shadow, and then you know that your Scourge is going to live. Or take the Lightning Bolt, let them Rift Bolt the Scourge. But I think that might be a little too passive. So I think I would go for take the Eidolon, play the Scalding Tarn, and pass, and just kind of look for one more piece of disruption here.
Sure. Yeah, so things are a little dicey here.
Anything out of burn that's giving them recursive damage is going to be kind of worst enemy.
Yeah. No, it makes absolute sense. Yeah.
It's like now they have to point this Rift Bolt at the face, which means they're getting this Shadow online for you. We might be able to set up a situation where we go to 12, go to our turn, play out Shadow, intentionally crack the fetch land to go down to 11. If they respond with Bolt, we respond with Street Wraith.
Yeah, dude.
And save our Shadow, gain a life, essentially.
That's pretty funny. I like that. That's really getting inside their head.
But, you know, Magic, everybody wants to respond to something. They want to be cool and trendy.
Cool and trendy and respond.
Play on the stack because it's sweet.
Well, that's MTGO, man. Definitely. Yeah, fetch land. I'll respond. Okay, they're back. Okay, whew, man, this matchup's always such a trip, man. It's just crazy stuff happening.
Opponents see the line of Rift Bolting themselves.
That would be pretty wild. But then we happily play out our Scourge, so yeah.
So do they find the second land?
It's like they do not. They're just gonna spike us. Okay, so now I want to fetch tapped, right? Because I just want to have access to my mana without too much pain.
I would fetch up basic island and scour yourself.
Oh, okay, sure. Right, because we're looking for Stub. Stub is just so good here, right?
Right. Stub is best draw by pretty wide margin.
Right. we're not playing that. We're just playing our Death Shadow.
Yep.
And we're passing. All right. Whew. Intense stuff, man. Intense stuff.
We're definitely in the holding pattern of needing our opponent to whiff on this second land.
Okay.
Which of course they don't, but...
Well, I mean, they whiff for 2 turns. That's all we can ask, really. 17. Eidolon.
Yes.
Okay. So we Fatal push that, then they untap and kill us because they got Spike Bolt.
Unless we draw stuff.
I think we're still not good shape.
I think what you have to do
is Thoughtseize.
We got a can't Thoughtseize because we can't present lethal off of it.
Oh, okay.
I think you have to play the second shadow, go to 6, attack with the first shadow.
Yeah.
Because there's not a huge chance. There's a chance they block. It presents lethal next turn. And it does represent, okay, if I have Stubborn Denial, I just counter one of your burn spells and kill you.
Right.
So there's a chance that they can't fire off both of their burn spells.
Right.
Looks like they're going to regardless, but...
Oh. All right. All right, let's do it, Stub. Let's do it. Bluff into drawing it. Oh. So close, man. So close. Wow, they should have done this on upkeep if they were going to do it here.
I have no idea why they waited. Like...
We have no outs. Street Race cycle for the lulz. No! I shouldn't have done it! I shouldn't have done it! I was too tempted. Oh no. That was great. Alright, good times playing against Burn. Alrighty, so let's take a peek at what we like and don't like, and then we can discuss. Taking out the Street Race and Dismembers, they are huge liabilities. We saw in that game. Brutality is obvious slam dunk. That's number 1 that I look at. Drown the Lock is number 2 because it's just another counterspell. So that's really good. And then Ether Gust is okay. It's not great. I'm just trying to make room. And then Kalagon's Command again is not very good, but like there's some spots where you like kill their creature, make them discard. There's some spots like that. So I'm thinking something like this. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
I think that's about it. The only other consideration is from time to time I've had like board out a Thoughtseize, board in second K command.
Sure.
But it's more if I'm expecting something like Burn with Ensnaring Bridge out of the board,
yep.
or something kind of off the wall like that.
Right.
What was that? Shrine of Burning Rage.
Yep.
Things like that.
Right. Okay. I think this hand's fine.
Not bad. Like
yeah.
You really want a Stubborn Denial or 2 in the matchup.
Right.
It's kind of the hand where if your opponent, I think this is the kind of hand that that loses to a really good burn player and beats an average burn player. And the reason I say that is it's a hand that if your opponent proactively plays burn spells, then you're able to get your threats out online and present a pretty quick clock. If they sandbag, you can have a lot of trouble here.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a pretty reasonable take here. For sure. Yeah, maybe this was a little bit. Are they going to play the Goblin Guide? Okay, well, they're kind of doing what I was wanting here. So in this case, they're going to attack. I think I just bobble myself to see if it's a land, because if it's a land, then I just let this go. Right.
Well, you're bobbling yourself anyway, so I think I would bobble yourself before this trigger to see if it's something you even want to draw.
Polluted Delta. I mean, it's free, so I'll draw it. And then I'm going to, let's see, So if I take this and I go to 18 and I fetch shock to 15, then fetch shock Death Shadow, it's a 1/1. But is that something I'm interested in?
Really like 4/4 is where you want to be on your shadows,
Right.
but you want to save this fatal push, I think, for an Eidolon. Like
Okay.
Goblin Guide, taking a hit off the Goblin Guide is fine, but you really don't want to be in a position where Eidolon's coming down on the battlefield and sticking around.
Sure. All right, so I'm just going to take a draw step here. I'm not going to fetch. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing yet. What crypt? Ooh, hello. Hello, hello. Okay, so I think I just played Polluted Delta Pass.
Let's think. Stub could change things because now if your opponent wants to like lightning helix your shadow and you can interact with it, that could be better for you. Or if they want to go like Swift Spear, bolt the shadow, and you've got the soft stub.
Right.
That being said, I don't think it's better than just land pass,
Right.
but it's at least a consideration.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a little leery of the soft stub. I feel like it gets this play. It would telegraph that play pretty badly, and then like they could just play around it probably.
Like they could play around it, but I think soft stub, forcing awkward actions and spending burn spells on your creatures is still like a bit of a win for you.
Sure. Polluted Delta. We're gonna fatal push this Goblin Guide, right?
So let's think about life total. If we take 1 here, go to 17, fetch shock to 14, fetch shock to 11, play shadow, hold up stub at 9, or hold up shadow, or play shadow, hold up a little more than 9, then that's fine because we can get down to that 4/4 sweet spot. So yeah, I think fatal pushing is fine here. And I would fetch shock into turn.
Okay.
Like, I know people go on and on about deck thinning like not being a thing, but I still think there's a tiny percentage there, and that tiny percentage is worth it.
Right. So I'm going to shock in the Blood Crypt, play a shadow, pass with stub and push up. The 9/9. Okay. Cool.
Like this is getting a little dicey.
Right.
You know they have this stub, 4 spells in hand, about to be 5.
Yeah.
5 cards in hand.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways this goes south.
Oh.
This is really good.
Ooh.
Because this means they're devoting at least another burn spell to the shadow.
Right. Okay. Oh, we might be able to do something really funny here. The position's pretty good. I'm going to declare a block on the Goblin Guide. My shadow will survive this attack. Yep.
So, the only thing I'd be weary of with the block on the Goblin Guide is if your opponent does have like a couple burn spells, even if you have the stub, the prowess triggers mean that you can't really afford to fatal push the Swift Spear, because then the Goblin Guide just trades with the shadow. If you block the Swift Spear, the Goblin Guide not having prowess means if you need to fatal push the Swift Spear, then you don't have to worry about the guide getting bigger than the shadow. Or you don't have to worry about the guide getting bigger and dealing unnecessary damage to you.
Sure. That was a weird sequence of events.
Yeah, this worked out really, really well for us.
Yeah. Gonna take
they left it Searing Blaze.
Kind of love to see it. Kind of love to see it.
Oh no.
I'm gonna do this. Play Scourge of the Skyclaves and percent lethal. Right.
So for anybody
15
watching the video in the future, don't leave in Searing
It's
Blaze again.
against Shadow. Yeah, I know, dude.
Searing Blaze can never kill a Death Shadow.
It can never.
Because it's got 2 targets, it always deals the damage to the Shadow and to the face at the exact same time, which means the next time state-based actions are checked, the Shadow has grown in size by however much damage they deal to your face. So whatever life or whatever damage is marked on the Shadow, whatever size it is, it's always growing by an equal amount to the amount done to it.
Right.
So you'll
really important thing to always remember when playing Death Shadow. You know, damage is done all at once. Then the game checks how big is the shadow, what's your life total, things like that. So damage is only marked on creatures. Creatures don't actually die from the removal spells; they die from the damage marked on them. As we saw just there, they attack with 2 creatures. I could block one of them because the damage is being dealt all at once, meaning that the my 4/4 shadow had 3 damage on it, and the goblin guy was dealing 2. However, the Swift Spear dealt 2 to me at the same time, meaning my shadow survived. Their goblin guy died. So, yeah, we're just gonna run it back. And so we can't keep a dirtily hand like we did with that last time. We definitely got lucky there. We got lucky for our opponent keeping in a card that they probably should not, and also we got lucky to rip that stub. Obviously, we're mulliganing this one. Let's see what we get for our 6. Okay, well, you know, it do be like that sometimes. We're not going to 4, but this hand sucks because we don't have a threat. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Luckily, this is a matchup where you can line things up pretty well to be able to win despite mulliganing pretty aggressively.
True.
It's not really a match. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Sorry. It's not really a matchup where a ton of resources matter, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We just ditch both Thought Scours. Like, I want all this interaction, right?
I think I would ditch a Thought Scour and an Aether Gust.
Okay.
Like, the Aether Gust, putting something on top doesn't really matter here if you're not winning in the time that you're buying.
Sure. Death Shadow. Okay.
And that's why we keep the second Thought Scour.
Heck yeah, man. That was a sick call, dude. I'm just that's shocking Inquisition, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you want to stop something like an Eidolon here.
Yes. Indeed.
Even though we've got a Gurmag and Gurmag dodges Eidolon,
right,
it's not a card that you want to mess around with if you don't have like exactly Shadow plus Battle Rage.
Right. Take it. That grabs a mountain here. Bolts us. Yep. Okay.
Vortex. What is
Whoa. Okay, so I just want to. Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out just to like this opponent is a total baller, but I want to say that none of these cards are very good. We can play around all of these cards pretty easily. I think I'm taking the Vortex.
2 mana was spent.
Yeah, I think we're taking Vortex, but none of these cards are terribly good here.
I think I agree on the Vortex.
Yeah. We have Drown Lock for the Deflecting Palm.
Yeah, so Deflecting Palm I never like in the matchup out of Burn because the card is dead until you choose for it not to be dead.
Yeah. That's a good one. That was
pretty solid.
That's a solid top. Okay, so goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can't Gurmag this turn, which feels really bad.
Yeah, which means we kind of need to just deal with the Eidolon. Just take the punishment, drown it now, get it off the board. Next turn we can scour into a Gurmag.
Nothing punished me for just passing, right?
Right.
Okay. Just in case.
Burn player playing Tybalt's Trickery, but it's banned. It's banned.
It's banned. Get out of here, Tybalt's Trickery. Dude, they're just playing. They're playing Mana Tithe because they're crazy. All right, let's go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, cool. So we can Gurmag next turn, which is really nice.
Correct.
Skewer us. Okay, things getting a little sketchy. Getting a little sketchy. Did they not play the lands?
They're holding it for Searing Blaze.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Fair enough. Ooh. You know what's good against Deflecting Ball? Is Ether Dust.
Kind of be curious to see if your opponent Deflecting Palms your Gurmag and you Aether Gust, are they going to put it back on top? And just, or are they going to try to trade it out for like a real burn spell?
You know what? I'm waiting on bated breath. There's a good shot our opponent just kind of rips perfects off the top and kills us, but you know, we'll see.
So, like,
it's been a fun time.
Here would be a little annoying.
Right.
Something if they're
oh,
able
they
to
killed the
double.
Gurmag.
Right.
Ooh, that looks like that's what's happening.
They
Ooh,
did
gosh.
not.
All right.
Maybe
Oh. Huh. Uh-oh.
All right. So
Boo.
Shadow is the presenting lethal next turn.
Yeah.
Through Deflecting Palm.
Right.
You die to Boros Charm, and that's it.
Boros Charmer, they have another burn spell in hand, and then they draw one.
Right. But I feel like if they had another burn spell, they probably would have played it. Right. Especially if it was something that hit creatures and they could just kill the Gurmag. Because like with Gurmag Angler, life total doesn't matter. So they can burn you as much as you want, or they want, and Gurmag's not getting better.
I think we're yamming, dude. I think we're yamming.
Think we're yamming?
Yeah, we're doing it. All right, opponent. Mess me up, brother. Mess me up, brother. Don't tap Mana Pester. Don't you dare tap Mana Pester. Come on. Come on. Whew. You saw my heart.
I believe we have dodged a bullet.
Oh. On their own end step? Oh, get out of here, opponent. Don't do it, dude. Okay.
They're 100% trying to Deflecting Palm. Opponent. That's so mean.
My heart is racing, opponent. Oh my goodness, dude. Every time, dude, it's just like, it's such a sweat, man.
So this is something that I see a lot out of Burn.
Right.
Is boarding into these spells that are supposed to act like burn spells, but don't.
Right.
Like situational burn spells, or what's the word for it?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, just cards that are supposed to do what your burn spells are doing instead of just having actual burn spells.
Right.
Like in this case, Skullcrack is better than Deflecting Palm, Rolling Vortex, anything like that.
Right.
Anything that deals damage is basically better than those.
Yep. My good friend Guy Catlin has a fantastic catchphrase, which is, "I won with Burn because I didn't draw my sideboard cards in game 2 and 3." Exactly. Which I think is fantastic. I think it's so good. It's like so perfect.
Oh, it's spot on.
Yeah.
Because so many times you win the matchup as Shadow because your opponent just spent like 3 turns trying to path to exile threats, or they spent multiple turns setting up like lethal Skewer the Critic chains.
Right.
And obviously Skewer the Critics is a little bit different, but it can be very awkward in hand. Or like that, Deflecting Palm, where they're like, yeah, I'm going to get them with a Deflecting Palm, and then they don't.
I'm thinking back also to our opponent's decision on the Rift Bolt to target our Death Shadow when we were at 9 life. And I think if they just went upstairs, I think we just would have died. I don't know 100%, but I think so. Joe True. That's a really familiar name. I think I know that person.
So kind of what I was mentioning, I think it was game 1, where playing against a really good burn player is a lot different than playing against like an average burn player.
Right.
So a really good burn player, like top tier, isn't going to have Searing Blaze, Deflecting Palm, those kind of cards in the deck post board.
Yeah, right.
And so if those are just actual burn spells, we lose that game and it's not even close.
Yep, true. Can I keep his hands? I'm asking your permission.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
It's quite good.
Okay, good. All right.
We've got the life to, we've got redraws to try to find another land. We've got removal.
Real quick, as I pass the turn, yes, all those things. If this was a Thoughtseize, I'm still passing here. I probably will say this in every single video that I talk about, but passing to be able to stub something, untap, and Thoughtseize later is almost always better. Okay, so we're playing against Arbor Elf Forest, which means that we need to have Blood Moon on our minds. However, with how our mana base is right now,
could also be Heliod.
Could be Heliod.
Blood Moon is a consideration. Just saying that.
Yeah.
Heliod is a consideration.
I think we need to fetch Shot for Watery Grave though, regardless.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna dismember this.
I like it.
Let's see. We're at 13. If we draw a fetch land, we can play a Death Shadow and hold up a soft stub, which is really nice. All right. Yep. Well, we're yamming. If they have exactly untapped land, bolt the shit. Oh my god! I got caught up in talking. All right. Well, this. Okay, you know what? Mike, I'm on the next level, bro. I'm showing them I don't have stub in hands, so.
So they won't play around it? I like it.
Play around it, dude.
Just have to kind of deal with the downside of now you can't scour into turn, but it's no big deal.
No, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Pretty big deal.
It's a pretty big deal because it means we're one less card digging for a fetch land, which is really what we need here. All right, well, we're kind of whitelisted tonight.
It's a never punished stream, really.
It's a really, you know what? It's a never punished stream. And now from this spot, we're in really good shape because...
So, what do you think right here is the best card your opponent can play for us?
Good. Fantastic question. Well, they named blue, so they're probably some weird something else that's not a Blood Moon deck. So I'm not sure. We're going to hold hands and find out together.
The opponent knows that our Uro is banned.
Dude, you know what? I wonder that as well.
But if it was traditional... Gruul mid-range. I was gonna say Clothis is actually like the thing we want to see more than anything else.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, I'm gonna cycle Street Wraith here because if we hit a fetch land or a shock land, we kill them.
Right.
Let's go. That's not. Damn close. Damn close deck, but not quite. Not quite.
Right.
Ooh, all right, we got to fade another turn. And yeah, this is where it gets sketchy with Death Shadow. I mean, you got look, we got the one threat. If this thing dies, we're kind of boned.
We're not thinking negatively here.
That's true. Yeah, we're not thinking negatively. Let's just see them tap out all the way for something. It doesn't matter.
I'm really curious what our opponent's up to. Like, Bant mid-range with Narset and
Arbor Elf.
2020's wild year. 2021, God.
It's true. Right, I'm letting that go. I'm obviously not stubbing that. I'm going to try to encourage them to tap out fully so we can get full value out of the stub.
If it doesn't say kill Death Shadow,
right,
we're basically ignoring it here.
Right, or bounce Death Shadow, like if they tap out for Jace the Mind Sculptor, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Death
I
Shadow.
don't. Right, functionally, right. I don't know what Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl Narset is, but maybe it's some weird combo. They play a wheel effect, like maybe they play Days Undoing. I don't know. Or just Narset's just a value piece? I really don't. Okay, they conceded. Sure.
I don't have a clue.
I don't either.
I don't believe Nature's modern legal, but
wait, what's not modern legal?
Hull Breacher.
Oh, Hull Breacher. Yeah, that would be a good one. That would be a good one. Okay. Goodness. We'll drown in the lock because it will hopefully kill or counter some things of theirs. I don't know if I want Plague Man just on the Arbor Elf alone. I don't think so.
I think I would bring in Plague Engineer, not here, but I would bring it in if Seasoned Pyromancer is a card, which you usually see out of like the Gruul decks. Obviously, that's not really consideration out of this Bant Narset deck,
Right.
but that's about the only time I would bring in Plague Engineer against a Utopia Sprawl Arbor Elf deck, except for Heliod. But
Right.
that's Warhammer Champion. That's a whole thing on its own.
Yep.
But for like Niv to Light and decks like that run Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl, I wouldn't bring it in.
Yeah. True.
That
You want
makes any
Ether
sense.
Gust? Yeah, no. I 100% agree with you. When I'm on Jund or the Rock, I like bringing in Plague Engineer against the Gruul midrange decks as well. Do we want Ether Gust?
So this is a situation where I would say our game one plan
Right.
seems to line up very well against them.
Yes. Good point. We don't want to
I
dilute
would
that.
make them stop you going into game
Sure.
two.
Cut a Fatal Push? Fatal Push didn't
I
look
like it.
amazing. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe you can make an argument for like a second Fatal Push for a Brutality or something
Sure.
minor like that, but
I think I like this hand. Got a lot going on in it. We have Double Opt, Street Wraith, Stub. I don't know. What do you think of this one? Fatal Push for the Arbor Elf?
yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, obviously
Like,
we need a threat.
Nice.
Right.
You're not so much worried about like Blood Moon here. That's fine.
Leyline of Sanctity, you say?
So I'm assuming there's some sort of combo deck if we're seeing Leyline of Sanctity.
Yeah, they've got to be, right?
What kind of combo deck? I have no earthly idea.
Sure. Okay. Second land's sweet. I think we just Fatal Push, right? Don't mess around.
I mean, I would like Street Wraith first, because if you draw something like a Dismember, you might want to do that instead.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
But yeah, just Fatal Push.
You know, maybe we could try to get cute and be like, oh, when they go to, cast the Utopia Sprawl, we, push this in response. But if they have something really bad at 3...
Getting a mana positive there.
Right.
I just wouldn't deal with it.
Right. Okay. Stotzies?
Leyline.
Oh, thank you. My brain's small. Sometimes we get there, though.
But I do think our hand's shaping up pretty well, because we've got the redraws to help find threats.
Right.
Snap Stub is going to be really good against any deck trying to run like interactive creatures.
I will take that one, thank you. Now I'm looking for another fetch land. Not that one. Not that one either. Dude, deck.
That's also not particularly great.
Just pass again. Or do I play the Death Show?
Thought Scour, because you're not holding up double stub. So if you hit like a fetch land here, like that, being able to play out Shadow plus a hard Stubborn Denial is significantly better than passing and not having any presence on the board.
Hey Mike, have you ever played this deck before? It seems like you kind of know what you're doing.
I don't have a clue. This deck's weird. Yourself, like, who wants to do that? I don't know if you do this.
Pretty lit.
They starter decks to people.
Oh,
the very first rule they say is, hey, in this game, you're trying to get your opponent's life total to 0.
Right. Do I let this go?
I'd probably stub it just because it's card advantage.
Sure.
Like, there's a chance that they Misty for a Path to Exile or something here as their last card.
Right.
But if they don't, being able to keep Narset off the board untapped with Snap Stubborn Denial is just going to be, like, lights out going forward.
Right. Okay. I'm probably holding up Snap Stub. Maybe there's something that's on the top of my deck. Oh, no, but we can't, because we can't Thought Scour them. All right, so I'm just going to combat, right? Okay, let me explain myself a little more. Sorry. If I saw something I liked, I could Thought Scour them and draw, but I can't because of the ley line. So.
Yeah, I would hold on to the bauble and not crack it and just attack. So that way you've got access to Snap Stub on their turn. If they don't do anything relevant, you can bauble yourself and scour over it if it's something you don't like.
Sure.
Or you can save it for a fetch land.
Yeah, good point.
But, like, I don't think there's anything that they're doing on your turn that you would rather have anything other than Snap Stub 4.
Right.
Worst case scenario, they play something completely unexpected, and maybe we Snap Op, Snap Scour. But yeah, this is in the
I'm not
Snap
sure.
Stub realm.
They're playing a deck of Magic cards. I will say that.
They are.
They do.
Typically, decks where your opponent's casting 5 mana Planeswalkers is pretty good for us.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I want to increase the chance I draw a fetch land because fetch land is lethal with the Thoughtseize. We can Thoughtseize ourselves.
Perfect.
They just concede because they're off of it. Joe True, again a familiar name, but I'm not sure. Hey, the kids are eating tonight. That's really nice because they don't always when I play Magic. That's for sure.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Like 2 seconds.
Yep. All right, y'all are waiting for some more players. Again, as we're just hanging out here, chilling, please feel free to leave a comment. If you know what our last opponent was playing, let me know. Yeah, and also, of course, if you've noticed anything, I mean, we've already noticed some punts that I made, but if you notice anything else or different ways you'd approach matchups, I would certainly love to hear about it. All right, we're heading in against Cracker Pack. We won the die roll, which is pretty cool. This hand's fantastic. Let's see, we have 3, 6, 8, so we can play a 1/1 Shadow on turn 2 if we so choose. Yeah, you can't really ask for hands that are better than this. Our opponent mulligans, which is really good for us because we have Inquisition on turn 1. Do I Street Wraith first? I don't think so. Maybe you want to look for like a Thoughtseize, but if they're on an aggro deck, on a burn deck or something, I don't want to go too reckless with my life total unnecessarily. So we can just Inquisition here. And then, okay. MTGO is full of surprises. All right, when Mike finally gets back, he'll be so proud of me. I'll be like, dude, I crushed our opponent. They didn't stand a chance. Turn 1 kill in Death Shadow. Good scum. Oh, man, that was fantastic. Okay, so let's think through a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep on it because I don't really believe in that. But I don't know what would just straight up scoop to a turn 1 Inquisition. There's a chance our opponent is maybe on tilt. Maybe they're having a bad night and they're just like, I hate the hand disruption. Let me just play my game. And they get hand disruption like, God, and they just concede, right? Or there's a chance that they have some kind of weird glass cannon deck that just can't beat an Inquisition. But it's weird because, like, if it's Dredge and they mold a 6, that you would never scoop, right? And Tron, too, you would never scoop if you're on 6, right?
I blinked and we're on game 2, and I see Cracker Pack conceded from the game, so...
Well, we got the elusive Death Shadow turn 1 kill, and I'm trying to reason my way through anything about boarding in, but I don't know. We won the die roll. We Fetch Shock Inquisition. They concede. They mold the 6.
Fetch Shock Inquisition concede. Mold to 6.
Maybe Fatal Push is probably not good against a deck that would do that. I don't know.
They mulligan before they conceded?
Yeah, they mulligan to 6. They mulligan to 6 cards. They put a card on the bottom. I played a Bloodstained Mire, Fetch Shock, Inquisition. They concede.
So it had to be something that Inquisition beats, not Thoughtseize beats.
Right.
So if you expect like Charbelcher, Thoughtseize doesn't beat Charbelcher Ironcrag, or Inquisition doesn't beat Charbelcher Ironcrag feat. So I wouldn't think it's something like that. Either way, I would probably board out like some spot removal, which it looks like you're doing over there.
Right.
And board into like Drown in the Lock.
Sure.
Maybe Brutality, maybe K-Command, something like that.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. I'm going to hedge. 1 Dismember, 2 Fatal Push. I don't know. That was a weird one.
I'd keep Dismember in before I'd keep in
Oh,
an
right, because
extra
it
fatal
enables.
push.
It's a shadow enabler. Yeah. He's
Right.
He's right. I think we keep. Ooh. I mean, if they maybe we should mulligan to hand disruption if they just scoop to it on the spot. What do you think of this hand? This is a weird one.
I'd probably keep it.
Yeah.
You've got a bunch of redraws here. You've got Gurmag Stub, which is really good against any unfair deck.
Right. They mulligan to 5.
You've got the Brutality, and you don't know what you're up against, so
right.
just having like a reasonably functional hand is pretty good.
That's true. Horizon Canopy. Oh, that makes sense.
Didn't see that one coming.
That makes sense. That's funny though. Gosh, I feel like you keep playing though, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to scoop off the first Bogle getting removed.
Right. So I'm just gonna Street Wraith, right? Because if I get a fetch land, I want to play fetch land and not one of these. Yeah. Ooh, hello.
Or if you get that.
Or if we get that.
So now you can bobble yourself before you decide on your land.
Inquisition. They scooped
I think you want that.
I'm gonna preserve life total and just swamp Thoughtseize.
I like it.
Okay. Good times. Good times. I think we just take Rancor.
One lander.
We take a Rancor. They can't cast Daybreak Coronet next turn because Daybreak Coronet requires another aura on the creature. So I like taking Rancor here. First Strike and Totem Armor. Yeah,
as long as you're able to take the Daybreak and then Gurmag Angler kind of stands in the way of cheap attacks while you get to untap with Stub, which will let you hit any big annoying enchantment.
True. That's true. Okay, I would like a Mishra's Bauble because I want to see what they're drawing. Because that would help me with my decision making here. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we just Inquisition. They didn't.
Why?
Opponent's having a rough day. Okay, so I have to fetch. I have to fetch Shock if I want to play this Gurmag, but I'm going to do that, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Okay, so we're shields down for one turn, which, doesn't feel great, but, we have to dodge Serious Enchantment, Daybreak Coronet, one that gives them pro creatures, one that outsizes our Gurmag. But if we untap with a Stub up, I think we're in good shape. They skew. Okay, all right.
Probably the quickest I've ever seen a match against Bogles go.
All right, we're 4-0.
Usually they keep playing and see some stuff.
We are 4-0, which is pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy about that, honestly.
I mean, I wouldn't mind starting off this video series on a trophy. But that's just me. I don't know how you feel about it. But.
Well, it's going to be great because we'll have you here. Everyone's going to see your wisdom, and we do well, and then they'll just watch me on my own, just punt after punt after punt. So,
So, if you start off a video series about growth and personal accountability, how do you get there if you just start off at the peak of the mountain?
You know what? That's a great question, dude. I don't know. The one really hyped thing one thing I'm really hyped about here is that we're going into Game 5, and I believe we're an hour and about 20 minutes into this video, which is great because
I don't. Field of the Dead's on the other side, or
that's so true, dude. That's so true. So yeah, this has been a fantastic
decks that are literally just spending their entire time not dying.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I can't. I had let's see, what did I have banned out from under me? I actually had more standard decks banned out from under me.
And I had a ton of standard decks banned out.
And it does not feel good. Like it sucks. Like especially when you invest emotional energy and money and time into a deck and it gets banned. It's such a feel bad. And so I feel for like a lot of like the players who are not feeling well right now because of their cards being banned. But I just want to express for myself that I am just so ecstatic that these cards are out of the format. This hand's awesome for keeping this one. I just like, I don't know, these not having to play against these types of decks. It's brought me back to the game, as we can see. So, okie doke. We have a little island. Yeah, probably Storm. Or, who knows? Maybe it's a person trying to play a control deck and Serum Visions is back, but well, we got a little top-bottom action. If they top, I would think about Thought Scouring them, but...
Little nitpick. Typically, when your opponent starts off turn 1 Serum Visions, it signals one of two things. Either one, they're looking for something that they already know they're going to need, like land, or two, they've got a proactive game plan and they're looking for specific pieces, like looking for things to go off with Storm. So for the most part, if you see your opponent lead on just land Serum Visions, there's about a 50-50 chance that it's just like something degenerate, and
sure,
that's where your focus needs to be.
With that in mind, should I mill them with this Thought Scour because they went top-bottom?
I probably would, honestly.
Okay.
Like, you've got a second Bant Scour to fill your yard.
Right.
And there's a chance if they're on something like Storm and they just scry a Baral to the top, then being able to take that out from under them could have a big impact.
We're about to find out what they're on. Serum Visions Bergie.
Storm.
That's Storm.
100%.
That's a Storm.
Bergie's the giveaway.
Well, we have not literally, we have a very good hand against what Storm is doing.
We do have a good hand against Storm.
We've just got
dropping turn 2 Shadow into...
Yeah. And we have Stub, Snap Stub, Thought Scour, Temur Battle Rage. Another Stub? All right, I'm going to fetch Shock for a Steam Vents because I want my red and I want a lot of blue sources. Does that seem good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Steam Vents or Watery Grave and get Steam Vents off the Polluted Delta. I don't think it really matters too terribly much.
All right, let's go, opponent. They about to go basic Mountain Bolt bruh moment. All right, no bruh moments. That's nice.
All right, so I'd fire off the Thought Scour in the turn there.
I guess I was wanting to keep up Stub for any shenanigans, but
yeah, I think if they spend their turn shenaniganing, you're pretty okay with it.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. And I guess with Bergie, I'm like not 100% sure what they're doing. So, all right, opponent.
I think it's just like additional bears.
Gotcha.
Is the only reason to play Bergie.
Fair. So I don't
even know what the downside of Bergie is. 5 mana, discard a card, exile 2, you can play them.
He says. All right, yeah, fair enough with the Thought Scour. I guess I have this paranoid feeling of tapping out against Storm, but maybe I shouldn't be that paranoid this early in the game.
It's definitely deck specific, because against something like Storm, you're not really afraid of Bolt out of the main deck. You're usually seeing things like Remand, or Repeal. Repeal would have gotten you regardless of whether you tap down or not, because they could just pay for the Stubborn Denial.
Sure.
And you didn't scour there either.
You know what, dude? I didn't need to because I knew I was drawing the fetch land, dude. Oh, wait, no. Do we have another fetchable land? A fetchable shock land?
No, do not.
So we gotta go like this anyway.
Yeah, but we're kind of hoping that double Stub here is going to be plenty to get across. Plenty to get us across the finish line.
Yeah, Mike. And may I introduce you to the Bob Ross theory of Magic the Gathering playing?
Did Bob Ross also say that no decisions matter and you're whitelisted?
That's exactly
a really specific thing for an artist to say.
You know what? All right. So the only thing we're really worried about here is empty the Warrens.
I would counter this.
Yep. That's what I was.
Got the doubles.
Yeah. No. You're good. You're good. No. Go. Sorry.
I was gonna say you've got the double Stub. They've got 2 red sources, which means if you can just cut the legs off of 2 rituals, then you don't have to worry about them going off. They've already played a land for turn.
Yeah. Do I snap Stub or do I just Stub?
Just Stub is fine.
Okay. So I can finally Thought Scour?
I mean, maybe. If you're feeling up to it. But I would not Thought Scour here. The reason being you're not doing it here is you want to hold up that blue mana, because if your opponent goes to your turn and you're able to snap stub plus battle rage on your turn, then you're guaranteed winning the game. If you tap down off of that blue and they have something like repeal on their turn and they're showing a willingness to not play it, then you're just playing into that by having the Thought Scour on that turn.
It's true. That's a good point. That's a cool point. That's a good point. All right, let's go. Playing for that trophy. Let's do it. All right. Against Storm, you want an out to empty the Warrens, and you want some Grave Hate. Drown Lock seems reasonable, and I think that's what I like. What about you, Mike? What are you thinking? What do we take out, by the way?
So I don't know if I would bring in all 3 spell bombs.
Okay.
The reason being, as someone, you've seen Storm get played up close and personal. People like Caleb Scherer played it for years.
Right.
Post board against these Thoughtseize decks, especially like Shadow, you're expecting your opponent to trim on things like Past in Flames, Gifts Ungiven. So the graveyard's not nearly as impactful as it is game 1.
Yeah.
So I want to have some amount of grave coverage, but I don't want to overdo it.
Yeah. Is it wrong to cut some... I don't know what I'm cutting, actually.
I'd usually cut a couple Dismembers before a couple Fatal Pushes.
Okay.
The reason being, if my opponent has Remand, I would rather than Remand a Fatal Push and be able to recast it than Remand a Dismember.
That's a really good point. Also, Dismember, potentially puts us in a weird spot where we really lower our life total and they just go Ritual, Grape Shot, and that's enough. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and then the last spot could be something like Street Wraith or Gurmag Angler.
Cool.
Because getting your life total down is important, but getting your life total down too low could just mean you die to like a flurry of Manamorphoses and a Grape Shot.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Gurmag Angler, if you're expecting like multiple remands, then turn 2 Gurmag can be a liability.
Gotcha. All right, we're going to mulligan this one as well. We have 5-card hands that can beat them for sure.
I agree.
Kind of mulligan with no fear here. This is a great one.
Great.
That's
my snap again.
Do we have to get rid of Plague Engineer lands?
I'd probably get rid of Spellbomb land, honestly.
Okay.
Like, Empty the Warrens is going to be one of their best outs. The second is like Aria Flame, and this hand deals with both of those.
Right. Our opponent mulliganed as well, which is pretty generous of them to do. So, shout out to our opponent. No, they didn't.
Love it.
No, wait, did they? No, they didn't, right?
No, they didn't. Never mind, no shout out.
Wait, no, hold on. They're at 5 cards now? Islands.
Oh, so they did. Yeah.
Ooh, Drown Lock. Hello, my friends.
Drown Lock's very solid.
It is indeed. Can maybe kill a turn 2 Dork if they choose to play it. Just take Manamorphose, I think, right? Or is it sleight of hand?
Probably Morphose. Okay. Like, Morphose is the more powerful enabler, but they don't have like anything going on right now. So there's definitely an argument for taking sleight of hand.
Sure.
And just like limiting their ability to see more cards.
Sure.
I think if you had kept a 7 with like another way to lose life, I would probably take the sleight of hand. But I do think because you kept 5, and we're going to be kind of hoping on top decks after this Shadow that taking
off,
the
right? Sorry.
The Thoughtseize, yes.
Okay, sorry, keep going. That taking
I think because we mold and we're kind of relying on stopping them where they're at, that taking the Manamorphose to prevent something like a big Empty the Warrens is better.
Right. I don't think there's an argument here. We just take pieces of the puzzle to make the card. It's the 2-for-1. Pyretic Ritual needs other things going on to make it good. All right.
So now they're playing to the top deck.
Right.
We're hoping to dodge like Aria Flame this turn, because next turn we can hold up Drown in the Lock.
I want to fetch land, please. Ooh, that's... Ooh. Potentially okay.
I mean, like, one fetch land and we're rocking and rolling here.
Yes, 100%.
but like having Aria of Flame answered in hand is really, really nice.
Right.
And then for things like Empty the Warrens, I would make sure you don't play out Plague Engineer proactively.
Sure.
Not just because we're like limited on resources and we want to hold up Drown in the Loch and Stubborn Denial, but more for the fact that you don't want to give your opponent the information that you have something answered. So if they're more willing to go all in on something like Empty the Warrens here, and we just get to blow them out by casting Plague Engineer.
Yeah. Do I? I don't go shields down here, do I?
No, I don't think so. If you had another land, I would say yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Without the third land, I would just sit on this drown.
Opponent is hell yeah. Thank God. I was getting nervous there for a second. Steam Vent. I just want all blue sources.
Yeah, so at this point, I wouldn't play Spellbomb.
Right. I want
because
both.
just keep up both your interaction, and if we draw into like another fetch land or something, they're just dead next turn.
That they are. I was about to ask, what do we do about repeal?
I'd probably stub it. Yeah.
I like that. If they fight over this?
Nah, draw. So they've got Pyretic Ritual Unknown.
Yep.
That's a tough one.
I kind of want to fight over it, but what's your thing?
I'm okay with fighting over it because like Past in Flames isn't really live for them here, or it's not really doing anything. So you're kind of hoping you can finagle them into Empty the Warrens.
Yep.
And if you do that, you've just got it covered.
Right.
Plus the fact that you know one of their cards in hand is dead.
Right. That's true.
I say dead, I mean like it doesn't impact the board.
Scary. Oh, get out of here.
Empty. Yeah.
Yeah, opponent, don't scare me like that, brother. Alright, my computer's starting to glitch out because we know that we're getting close. And a fetch land, please. Ooh, that's actually pretty good. I'm naming Goblin.
Yep.
Dude, that's in my range to fuck up. I mean to mess up, excuse me. I want this to be a
Name
family.
token.
Name token, dude. Alright, now we got 2 lethal attackers and they're top decking.
I like the spot.
Storm
with their back
something. I was about to say, Mike. I was about to say something. Storm with their back up against the wall. Oh, don't make me puke my guts out upon it. Don't do it, dude. Don't do it. Alright. Okay. Pieces? Oh, my heart's pounding, dude. This is not fair.
They're getting to see a lot of cards here.
Yeah. Wow. It's so sick how this happens so much, dude. Yeah, they top bottoms. End here, please. Pass turn. Because if we hit a land, we just snap drown this.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Please pass the turn, please.
Guess and just like go ahead and get another slight or something in while they can.
Yeah. So nerve-wracking, dude. Oh my god, opponent. Stop it. Ay, dude.
Or no, they can't repeal.
Yeah. Just pass, dude. Pass. Alright, land off the top. Let's go.
Like, it's amazing how they were able to string this together off of just like a
so dumb, dude.
off the
It's
top.
the stupidest thing ever.
It's still, if they just hit a grape shot, game's over.
Game's over, man.
Off of no resources, no cards in hand.
Yeah, it's amazing how often this happens with Storm. You just completely drain them of resources, and then this happens. Okay. All right.
Justice in the world.
Oh!
Justice in the world. Justice in the world.
Oh. Dude, my heart is racing, dude. Oh my god, dude.
So the student has become the master. I have nothing more to teach.
Dude, don't even say that, man. You were vital. You were vital, my friend. Thank you so much, Mike. That was a blast. Obviously, I will not complain about a trophy on the first day that we are rocking and rolling. So yeah, it feels great. Shout out to Ari Zax. Fantastic list, my friend. I really like all the inclusions, and if I were to play Grixis Shadow again, I'd probably start here. Maybe make some adjustments if I see the meta moving any certain way. Mike, million thanks for being on and helping me out. I'm extremely tired. It's 12:30 in the morning, and like I'm losing it, and my heart is still racing. So thank you, Mike. This was a blast, and we will hopefully see you all tomorrow. And we're gonna go something like Grixis, Jund, 4-color, Rakdos, and then some spice. And we're gonna hopefully stick to something along those lines.
Splash White for Lingering Souls?
Right, Splash White for Lingering Souls. So something like that as we move along. Otherwise, it has been a lot of fun, and I'll see y'all in the next video.